A while back, a close friend and I decided to test the waters of the supernatural world, something we had never dared to explore before. We chose to experiment with an Ouija board, intrigued by the tales of eerie encounters it promised. To amplify the experience, we invited two other friends to join us, believing that the presence of more people might increase the likelihood of something extraordinary occurring. It took some convincing, but eventually our other two friends reluctantly agreed to participate. We gathered all the necessary materials and, with a sense of trepidation, began our experiment. As the session progressed, one of the girls we had convinced to join us suddenly declared, "This is nonsense. I'm out of here." Her abrupt departure sent shivers down our spines, and we decided to postpone the session for another time, our anxiety growing. Several days later, the girl who had abruptly left the Ouija board session called me in a state of distress. She recounted a chilling encounter on her way home from the local library. She had passed by a desolate, decrepit house. A young girl, dressed entirely in white, had approached her and asked to play. My friend, feeling rushed and alarmed, declined the eerie invitation, and that's when the unsettling events unfolded. The white-clad girl began to weep tears of blood, causing my friend to flee in sheer terror. Once safely home, she urgently contacted me. Initially, I doubted the veracity of her story, but an unshakable feeling deep within me suggested otherwise. My thoughts began to spiral back to the day of our Ouija board experiment and my friend's sudden departure. I couldn't shake the feeling that these events were connected, but I pushed aside such thoughts and went to bed. Little did I know, our brush with the supernatural was far from over. The following day, my frightened friend reached out to me as she was going to be alone at her house studying. She pleaded with me to keep her company, her fear palpable. I hopped on a bus to her house and we settled down with our books, trying to regain a sense of normalcy. But that normalcy was short-lived. After a while, we heard an unsettling scratching noise emanating from behind us. Our gazes met, and a wave of horror washed over us as we beheld the same white-clad girl from my friend's previous encounter. She was seated on my friend's bed, viciously scratching at the wall. Panic surged through our veins, and without hesitation, we bolted from the room. As we reached the front door, I realized that my friend was no longer with me. The paralyzing fear that gripped me wouldn't allow me to wait for her. Moments later, the police contacted my family, delivering the heart-wrenching news that my friend had tragically succumbed to a severe asthma attack. She had been found on the staircase of her home, her face etched with a terror that defied explanation. The events that followed left me deeply scarred, and I embarked on months of intensive therapy to cope with the trauma. Now, I am in the process of healing, but the other day, a note appeared in my mailbox, written in the handwriting of a young girl. The message sent shivers down my spine. "Your friend died because she wouldn't play with me. I have a new doll." Though our story has gained notoriety in our small town, part of me wonders if this is merely an elaborate prank. Yet, lurking in the recesses of my mind, a creeping fear persists. Will she come for me next?